Self-aware leader. Today's episode, guys, is going to be a special one. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's leading a team that's going through some major uncertainty. And it got me thinking about a powerful concept I had stumbled across a long time ago during, well, we're not going to quote what it is because YouTube and stuff doesn't like that, but during that time several years ago, and it was done by Harvard Business Review, and it was talking about the importance of developing a clear vision when managing ambiguity. So what does a clear vision look like? And especially, and I know I talked to a lot of you guys throughout the week, and there's a lot of you that have uncertainty. There's a lot of you that are worried about, I'm a small business and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make payroll or not. I'm a mid-manager and my CEO is thinking about eliminating these positions and he wants me to do it. And I don't know how to restructure everything. Maybe you're just starting out and you're in charge of 3 people. Well, guess what? You're a leader. And what does it look like when a leader has a clear vision? And I know what you're thinking, vision, it's easy to say, but how do you actually create one? Especially when there's just so many crashing waves coming in. It's just wave after wave, problem after problem. And everything feels like it's up in the air. And I know, I get it. I've been there. We've all had trials and tribulations in our life. And as leaders, we're constantly navigating the unknown. That's what makes leadership so amazing, because these unknown, the ambiguity, all of that creates learning lessons for us as leaders if we're self-aware. And in these unknown times, or in these turbulent times, it can be tempting to just react. Instead of being proactive, we want to be reactive. It's like, I'm just going to survive today. If I can just keep myself together today and not cry or not scream or not go crazy on someone, it'll be a good day. But a lot of us end up living a life of reactivity. We live it not just as a leader in our work, but then it spills over, doesn't it? And we don't really want our family to interrupt us unless there's an issue, and then we'll be reactive and solve it. It almost spills in we wait for the doctor to give us some horrible news about our health, and then next thing you know, we're reacting. That's what gets us on the treadmill. That's what gets us walking every day. That's what gets us not going to the fast food and eating really quick, because we're always in a hurry and we don't have time. We say to ourselves, isn't it? But here's the thing. When we don't have a clear vision for ourselves first, for us personally, when we don't have a clear vision for those that we love and lead, and when we don't have a clear vision for our family, we're like ships without a rudder. Any waves of uncertainty can toss us right into the rocks. And this is when a lot of leaders fall. We lose sight of our goals, we lose sight of our values, and what truly matters to us as individuals inside of ourselves, our heart, that higher self. And when we lose sight of these things and we're just reactive and we're not putting vision out there for ourselves, for our family, and for those that we love and lead, then things start to unravel all around us. And some of you are there right now. You're in that moment right now where you feel like life is unraveling. Well, I want to help you today. And I want to help you if you can get a pen and paper, because I feel taking notes, old school, I know, but it's always amazing. If you can get it, if you're driving, please don't get a pen and paper. Wait and go back through this again. So what does it mean to develop a clear vision? What does it mean to develop a clear vision in the midst of ambiguity? Well, it's more than just setting a goal or having a plan. We all do that. We all start feeling a little stressed and start feeling crazy. It's like, okay, everything's chaotic. I need to write things down. So I'm going to get my pad of paper out. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, today's date, and I'm going to get organized. Now that can help a little bit, but vision is not having a plan. It's not a goal. The goal and the plan comes from the vision. It's about defining what success looks like for you, what success looks like for your family, what success looks like for your team. Even when the path is unclear, who cares? What does success look like? You have to define success, and you have to have it so clear, and your messaging has to be so on point that everywhere you go, you exude vision. You exude success. You show for what it is to others. And in this article of Harvard Business Review, HBR, they give a great example about parenting and trying to raise good kids. So what is the definition of good kid? It's different for every family, isn't it? Some it might mean academic success. Others, it's a strong family connection. We have a large family. We want to have, a huge connection. And then for some of you, having your son or daughter be an athlete and having those achievements. It's all different, isn't it? What a good kid means. But you know what the key is? Is to identify what matters most to you. And then use that as your guiding light. Find out the DNA. Take the time to be proactive. Find the DNA in that child. Is it more creative? Is he more artistic? Is he more music inclined? Does he love football and basketball? Does he love it because mom or dad loves it? Or does he love it because it's truly in his heart? Watch your children and see what they do when no one's around. What are they playing with? What are they saying? What do they tend to gravitate towards all the time? That's where you can clearly see where they're most creative, clearly see where they're most passionate. So how do we do this in our own leadership roles? I want to ask you a few self-aware questions to get you started. We always do this, don't you? So write these down. I'll say them twice. What are the core values that guide your decision-making? What are the core values that guide your decision-making? Well, I'm not really sure, Jason. I haven't thought of that in a while. Okay, here's the problem. Here's where we're facing issues. We're way off of our core values. We're letting the world and things around us and our clients, our vendors, everything is reacting, and we're reacting to that. So there is no field post, there's no values that we can hang our hat on. There's nothing that guides our daily decision making. That's what core values are. Trust. What does that look like? Well, I love the book. Franklin Covey's son wrote a book called The Speed of Trust. I talk about it all the time. And it's speed, right? Decision making. If everybody trusts each other, they can make decisions, right? And you'll be surprised in your organization how many people don't trust each other because this department will throw this department under the bus. I was just at a business the other day talking to a manager, and they were talking about this department's throwing this department under the bus, and they can't do this, but wants to do this, something that would be profitable for the company, but won't do it because won't take the risk, because this other person, anytime anyone wants to try to take the light off of them, then it in turn causes turmoil, causes questions, becomes unsettled. So next thing you know, they're getting called into the boss's office and everything else. So what are the core values? And that story is a good indication. You don't even realize it. Maybe you are the boss. You have managers and people underneath you that are not willing to make a decision because they feel like they're not safe. So you need to define these core values, and you need to teach them to your staff when you're doing coaching and one-on-one. You need to let them know these are the core values. This is what our company stands for. If you want to get buy-in even quicker, have everybody get together and on a whiteboard, all the managers and you get together and you guys write out your core values together. What does this company define? What do you see it? Write a big long list of like 10, 15 core values and say, we're going to pick 5. We're going to pick 3. We're going to pick 6, whatever number you want. So let's get these and put them in priority of our day-to-day actions and our decision-making and which are most important. And let's label these. Oh, perfect. We found these 5 things to be most important. Or these 3 things. Well, this is what we're going to focus on. Well, what does that look like? Say you're facilitating this on a whiteboard. What does that look like for the rest of us? What does that look like for the employee? How can the janitor understand the core values? How can he make a decision based off the core values? If your hourly employees, I'm going to say something now. If your hourly employees don't have an understanding of your clear vision, you failed. They're the front line. Whether it's, I tell people this so much. If you have a small business, medium-sized business, it doesn't matter. And you have a receptionist, it's one of the most important people in your business. It is the outside world. Your website online, your social media online, that's your receptionist online. How you respond on chat and everything else, so important. Texting, everybody text for appointments. Do you have that set up for sales with your receptionist? Is she a salesperson? Is she earning her wage plus more? Is there an ROI there? Also, that phone call that comes in, how is she with the phones? What's her life like? Have you took the time to go on social media and see how her life? Are you coaching her? She's one of the most valuable employees. She is that person that's going to talk to the vendors. It's going to talk to the clients. That's going to have the conversation with your patients. It's so important that you have the right. And I'm going to do a whole series on receptionists and how they're basically salespeople and how you can create an ROI. It's like, what would that look like? I need you to make 10 appointments a day. I'm a dentist and I need 5 or 10 appointments. What's the LTV, the lifetime value of an appointment? Not just 10 appointments from existing customers, but I need new ones. Well, how are we going to do that? Off of social media ads. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, you're going to work on that. That's why it's so important to hire somebody that's in marketing and sales and have them be a receptionist and pay more. Especially somebody that just came out of college has done that. You don't have to pay them a lot. And I don't want to get too much into that. That's a high horse I have. I just see horrible receptionists. We're hiring these people at minimum wage or barely anything, and then we're expecting them to answer the phone and just, an AI can do way better and shift numbers around. You might as well go offshore and you can get a better. I had someone the other day, I called, they hung up on me 3 times. And then I finally got a hold of them, and they're like, it's so busy, it's so crazy, I don't have time, and then hung up on me again. I was trying to do business. So what are the core values that guide your decision-making? And that's just one example. Next, what does success look like for your team, your organization, or even your personal life? What does success look like? This is turmoil. You're having shitty times right now. You've got to get something anchored, something solid, something that I can do. What does success look like? Success right now is me eating clean. Well, I'm going to have I'm going to make sure I eat clean, and every meal I'm going to be clean because I need something I can be proactive in. What's easy win right now that I can get proactive in? I'm going to say screw it at work, and I'm going to show up at my daughter's soccer matches, period. Every single one. They're in the calendar. My secretary said, my assistants knows this is number one thing because I can be proactive and I can do this for my family. You need to find easy wins that you can be proactive in. That's why it's so important to get the vision down to see what success looks like for you. Once you get that, do you first. Oxygen mask first for you, then your team, then your organization. You go micro and macro. What does success look like? Take the time to write this out. Get a loan. I like to get a cabin or on the beach for 2 days by myself every year so that I know my word, because I have one word for the year that I'm going to focus on, and I know what success looks like for the year. And then I just have to reverse engineer that success. And then I hold myself to that throughout the year. Super simple. Third question, how can you align your actions with those values and goals, even when faced with uncertainty? How can you align your actions with those values and goals? Because guess what? There's one thing I could know. I know that even though there's problems in the business, there's one thing I can do is I can keep the business super clean. We're going to talk about making sure the trash is empty. The restrooms are always clean. That's an easy win. I can do that. Let's not have chaos in the lunchroom. Let's gain clarity. See how simple of a win that is? What's another thing? I can make sure I have a conversation with my CFO and that we're not letting people be 60 and 90 days late. That at 30 days, they start incurring interest. And that we're going to go after them and have conversations with them and find out why our customers aren't paying us. How many? Gain clarity. How many people are 30 days or later? Find that out. Gain clarity on what you can align yourself to with the actions of those values and goals. If clarity is one of your values or goals, then gain clarity. How is that? You got to talk to your team. See what clarity looks like for them. Have them open up and ask you, what does clarity look for you in this organization? Specifically in your role. What could I do in this organization do to make your role more clear? And just listen. And then I always say, if you had $1 billion in your role, unlimited, what would you do? I know you would hire other people to do your job for you, of course, but make a joke, ha, ha, ha. But what would you do if you still had to work in this position, but you knew you had unlimited money? What are some of the things you would do? You will be surprised. You can do some of those things. Once you have a clear vision in mind, you've got these three things together. It's like having a compass that points you in the right direction no matter what's going on. I know this is true north. I know this is the direction we're going. I don't care what's happening right now. The ship is still afloat. The waves are coming in a little bit, but we're doing fine. We're going to row, and I have a compass, and I know I need to go north because I know I can get out of the storm the quickest if I go this direction. Remember, a vision isn't a rigid plan. Goodness gracious, I could even say that. A vision isn't a rigid plan. It's a flexible framework that allows you to adapt and adjust as new information emerges. It's like the military with intelligence. It's the same thing we always had when I was in the Marine Corps and we were overseas. We always would have new information emerge. So what does that mean? We're going to get together and discuss it. Stop keeping and hoarding all the information to you and you alone. Have a conversation with those that you lead. It's going to create trust and vulnerability in a good way. But it's also a powerful tool that can give you the confidence and clarity you need to lead with purpose. Even when the path is uncertain, it's like, yes, here's new information. Here's where we're at. Well, we found out there's 40 people that are 60 days and 90 days late. Let's gain some clarity. Who can make the phone calls on these people? Can we find out why they haven't paid? How can we bring some money in? That's an easy, quick way to gain clarity on a business where there's turmoil. Clean up the offices. Make sure people are doing their job. And I'm talking like just coming in there and starting to change everything and be a tyrant. That's a low vibration, easy way to do it. That's being one of those dictatorial managers. What it is coaching them. Say, hey, here's some clarity that we want to gain. We talked about these values the other day. So I'm bringing you in again, and we're going to look at your position and see how we align with those. What are some of the things that you would like to do? What are the things that you hate to do? What are some of the things that we can have someone else do or switch job roles around? You'd be surprised how many people just switching their role or giving them a different title or adding on. I always shocked how people don't mind adding on to what their job is. It's crazy to me. You have a conversation with them, you start coaching them, they're like, well, I could probably do, and it's like, oh, you're working about 60% capacity. Now let's bump it up to 80. Let's get that extra 20%. And that scales and multiplies. That's why coaching your people are so important. It's your biggest return on investment is coaching. And if you need questions or need help with coaching, that's what I'm here for. I can coach the coaching. In my website, selfawarepodcast.com, I have all the coaching stuff on there. So I encourage you guys to, if you want to get a hold of me, you can DM me. We also have on the website, I have different programs for that. But what does clear look like for you? How do we commit to developing a clear vision? How can we do that in our own lives? What are some easy wins you can grab right now? And embrace it, guys. Embrace the unknown. Captain Kirk, baby, going out there. He had courage and clarity. And that you have the power, your higher self, you have the power inside of you to create your own success. Guaranteed. We all have that power. So until next time, all of you keep leading with awareness.